Welcome to day one of the Beginner's Brain golf series that I'm doing with My 180 Golf. My name's Shane Lakins. I'm a PGA teaching professional, and what I'm going to be doing over the next little while is trying to teach myself how to play left-handed. Yes, I'm a right-handed golfer. I'm going to try and play left-handed. Now, there are a lot of really good golfers out there that play left and right-handed on the internet. I am not one of those. So this is going to be humbling, but that's okay. I think that's an all right thing. You know, it's often said to master a skill, you need X number of hours. I'm going to try 100 hours of working on my game left-handed and see where that takes me. And I'm going to take you on the journey along with me. And so, you know, it's going to be one of those interesting things where I think we're going to learn a lot about what it takes to be a beginner again. You know, obviously with teaching people, I think it's important to go back and learn, you know, how you have to learn and put yourself in their shoes as a beginner golfer. So what better way to do that than to switch over to the other side? And I can tell you, this is not going to be pretty early on, and we'll see how long it takes for me to develop the movement patterns to be able to have a competent golf swing on the left side. So yeah, without further ado, we'll get started. It's even weird to put the glove on the other hand. So, you know, it's kind of like brushing your teeth on the with the wrong hand. You know, it's going to feel a little bit funny. I'm using one of my buddy's clubs. He's got definitely a little bit longer, so we'll see how that works out. But we'll see how this goes. I'm going to record these swings, so we're going to go for about 15 minutes or so and see what we can do with the early swings compared to the late, and then we'll keep working on that. Now, I feel like I really, you know, to be honest, I would rather take my normal golf grip right now and swing cross-handed. I think that to me feels actually more natural. I'm not going to do that, but boy, does that ever feel strange to have it the other way like this. All right, so let's give it a crack here. No laughing. Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad. A little stiff and rigid, but that's all right. I was expecting much worse, and I'm sure there will be much worse to come. And I'm kind of curious what kind of ball flights I get out of this side. Little pushy. Now, I'm not trying to hit it super long or anything. I'm just trying to do the same things I do on the right side on the left. Now, this is a bit interesting in the sense that I actually am left-handed. So I write left-handed. I do a lot of things left-handed, but I am more dominant, to be honest, on my right a lot of times. And so this will kind of give you a bit of an indication. I play hockey, Canadian. I play goal. This is probably going to explain a lot of things now as a goalie. And as a goalie, my trapper's on this hand. When I play baseball, my glove is on this hand and I throw with my right. So yeah, it's kind of one of those things. I play tennis with both hands. I can only serve right-handed because that's the throw pattern. But I can, anything below my shoulders, I can hit forehands or backhands playing tennis or racquetball or anything like that. So, a bit goofy. All right, so. Who knows? Maybe after 100 hours, I'll just change to left-handed and go that way. Definitely have the open faces going, but I'm actually fairly, I honestly have not swung left-handed for probably a couple of years. When I did my PGA course, one of the ways that we worked with other PGA professionals doing the course and teaching beginner golfers is for all of us to switch to the opposite way. And you know, I hit some all right balls, but they weren't very, very good. So you know, this is a little surprising, to be honest, that I'm actually even carrying it at 100 yards. So All right, well, working on just the basics of trying to figure this out. The movement pattern itself just feels so foreign. That's kind of more what I was expecting, a whole bunch of those. So I'm kind of curious, in dealing with 100 hours, like if I'm trying to do this for 100 hours, how far can I get, starting with where I am right now, as far as proficiency is concerned? I think if you're doing, certain skill sets, I think allow certain sports or certain skills that you use probably would be a little quicker to be able to master or kind of really grasp the movement pattern. We'll see where golf is in this. Like, I'm thinking if I tried to learn how to play the piano, how many hours would it take me to be even competent? Which reminds me, when I was younger, I had broke my hand, and I asked the doctor after I got my cast off, I said, will I be able to play the piano? And he said, absolutely. I said, that's great, because I never could before. And needless to say, he escorted me out of the emergency room, and I was on my way. Ooh, I like that one. All right. So we got how many shots in there? 9 shots in now. I don't really have when I practice, I don't really have a set number that I kind of try and hit as far as number of shots. Usually I just kind of work on the time frame and go from one skill to the other. I don't think I've seen the right side of the fairway here yet. My goodness, is that a draw? I struggle so much with a draw on my own swing. Who knows? Funny game. So for me, a typical 7-iron, on the right side, it will carry somewhere in the neighborhood of about 162 to 168. So that's my carry with a 7. So, obviously not that far yet, but that's all good. Otherwise, this would be a short series if I could do that right on this side. So it'd be interesting to see how long it takes this to feel not so foreign. Like, literally, this feels so strange to be able to be swinging this direction. And I'm not even thinking really about mechanics or anything. I'm just trying to get the club on the ball. Some more successful than others, but by and large, I've been pretty pleased with contact. Oh, baby. This is going way better than I was expecting. Yeah, the grip feels obviously opposite of where it should be, but I'm just using the same grip setup left-handed as I do right, just switching the hands. At least it feels that way anyway. It's really, like I say, it's really interesting. My path swinging right-handed is so, I really struggle with too much to the left, which when you're right-handed is basically an over-the-top move. And that's kind of my go-to and what I've done since I was 12 years old, starting the game. And immediately here, I had a bunch of, I didn't really check the path too much of the first bunch, but my path is actually in to out. you know, with this left-handed swing. Yeah, it's just when the face matches the path that, you know, that's just a straight up push. $120-yard carry though. It's like, it's funny when I want to waggle, I actually waggled this way. So yeah, it's difficult. The brain has not quite figured this out yet. That one's off the planet left. And that was just, face was pointed that way and path was that way. So if you're at home and you're wondering, it's like, why does my ball go left? You know, in this particular case, it's, you look at where the path is going this way. Okay, so as I come through, the path is going this way. But most importantly is the side, so it's left is going left also with the club face. So got that on the monitor and behind. Okay, left. Still not bad though. And I say I'm using the same setup as I normally would. Kind of, for me, it's about a club width away from the heel or the instep of where I'm playing it. You know, I haven't got to the point where I've put any alignment sticks down or anything like that to start off with. It's, for me, with what I'm trying to think of right now is just trying to make contact with the ball and, you know, get just basic mechanics down. A little thinny on that one. So since we're talking about beginners and, you know, I just said I hit something thin, it's like, what the heck does thin mean? Thin means basically that I hit half of the ball, okay? So I didn't hit underneath the ball, I hit kind of about on the equator of the ball, so it goes a lot lower and it can still go a long way, but it is not really what you want to do. All right. Well, and there's the opposite of thin, which is fat. And so on that one, I hit behind the ball. So, and that's going to make the ball hit a little bit higher up on the face, and it's not going to go quite as far. And obviously, I got a little bit of a hook out of that. So, you know, again, since we're dealing with beginners, as a left-handed golfer, I have to really kind of turn this around in my head. As a left-handed golfer, the ball is going to, for a hook or a draw, they're kind of the same shapes going directionally. A draw would be just kind of a nice little kind of fall to the right. A hook would be a rather abrupt right as a left-handed golfer, and it's just the opposite for a right-handed golfer. So it is important to probably have a little bit of turn, a little bit of curve on the ball. Hitting it straight is probably just is really hard. Now that would be more like a draw, okay? Whereas the one before that would be more like a hook. And the way that's produced predominantly is with the path where the club is going. So if you think of a tennis racket, and I want to hit a ball that kind of curves like this, the tennis racket has to be going this way, but where the racket is faced is going to start the ball in that direction. And if the racket continues to go past that, then it's going to put a spin on the ball and it's going to go around and it's going to hook. So that's essentially what's happening there. Now, if my path was more this way, then the ball's likely going to curve the other way. So I'll try and do that on this. This would be my predominant right-handed path. Nope. That was what we call, that was a fat one. Not very good. Closed face and the whole bit. See if I can get that path. And that path is out to in, is what I'm trying to do to create that curve this way. Now that's, you know, for most people, that's kind of where they arrive at the game. Yeah, there we go. So I got the path to the right that time. Now I'll go back to kind of what the normal swing is that feels on this one. Now, you've probably heard it's like, keep your, I guess, in many cases, lead arm, I kind of is the best way to describe this. So keep your lead arm straight. So that's the arm that's in front. I have a hard time with this right now. It does not feel like it wants to be just dead straight, which is okay. It doesn't have to be like rock solid straight, okay? But I'm working on it. Okay, so that's just that face that's open. So where the ball is going to be starting mostly is because of where the face is pointing. Okay, so I've got a little device here that I'll put on the club, and it may be hard to see, but I'll do my best to show you. Maybe get a little closer here. Okay, so where that face is pointing is where the ball is going to start. Okay, so because I'm not hitting it super far, it's really going to be mostly responsible for where the ball ends up. Okay, so if I'm pointing it that way, the ball is going to head out and start that way. If it's pointing this way, the ball is going to start out and head that way. The relationship between where this is facing and where the path is what gives you the curve part of it. So, on that last one, my face was pointing that way a little bit when I got to the ball. All right, let's see what we can do here. See if we can get a couple good ones here to finish off. That's a little pulley. So I will do a little down the line video and face on video, and I'll explain that on our next episode maybe, to again get an assessment. So it's really important. So the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get Reed in here, and we're going to do a little TPI assessment on me. It's a movement screen, and looking at how my body moves. Are there any limitations? It's really going to be interesting because as a right-handed golfer, my biases are going to be towards a right-handed swing. So for instance, my extension with my shoulder is going to be a little bit different probably than on the right side versus the left side. There's going to be some internal hip rotation, probably some thoracic spine rotation that's better one direction than the other. So I'm looking at this and, is there any deficits that I have, having been a golfer for many years, that I've created by just obviously swinging the one direction, and how am I going to address those when I get onto the left-hand side here? So we'll work on a little bit of an exercise program to try and help with a little bit of that kinematic sequence to be able to get things in the right position. All right, let's see what we got here. A little thin. All right, thin to win. All right, so I'll go up to 30 balls, and then we'll take a look at kind of what that looks like. A little bit heavy on that one. So again, heavy is another way to describe it being a little fat, hitting a little bit behind the ball. So I'm going to try and start to, for those of you who are beginners and watching this, that you'll start to understand some of the jargon, some of the lingo, so to speak, of golf, and how we describe shots and what you hear out there. Probably try and do it without all the swear words. Boy, that just feels so much better going that way with a little waggle. All right. I'm not disappointed with this. This is all right. I feel, I haven't got a number on how many hours I would have expected for me to take to get to this point, but this is all right. All right, two more. Try and get a little bit of a body turn here, a little bit. Let's see. Interesting. Interesting. Now, if you're wondering, is like, am I swinging as hard as I can? I think the answer is probably yes. Like, I'm not trying to come out of my boots. You know, I'm trying to make a golf swing, but I'm swinging aggressively at it. But I just don't have the skills yet to be able to use all the forces properly. So, all right, last one. You always want the last one to be a good one here. So let's go. Look at my little draw. Now, for my friends that know me, they're definitely not gonna recognize the golfer that draws it. That is not typically my game. So that was 120 carry. You know, should you care about how far you hit it carry or how far you hit it with the roll? Well, obviously, if this is an airport strip, you know, 120 goes out probably about 400 or 500 yards as it bounces down the runway. So really, most golfers really only care about how far the ball carries. And then you make adjustments when you get to the course. So knowing your carry number is the really important thing. And right now, you're about to see that my carry numbers are all over the place, but that's okay. So we'll bring in the system here, and we'll take a look at some of the numbers. So if we look at, you know, my dispersion, and I'll use my golf club as a little stick. You know, this is this looks like a beginner's dispersion. Okay, so it's a great big oval, and it's not really much of a thin ellipse. So you know, if I take out maybe these two bad shots right here, this gets a little bit better, but that's right now part of the deal. But this will start to give me a bit of an idea as to how far I hit this club. And obviously, you know, with time, I hope I'm going to be able to move it a little bit further down the fairway with this. But this isn't bad. You know, again, you can see that, you know, even day one of learning to hit balls from the other side, you know, dispersion is left and right. Okay, we don't know when the ball is going to go left and when the ball is going to go right. According, you know, this is obviously the target. This is the 0 line, and it almost, you know, to a certain extent, if you didn't know better, you'd think I was trying to avoid the center line, and that happens even on the right hand side. You know, with dispersion, it seems funny. It's like all the balls are not close to where the pin is, but that's golf, and so probably a little bit more of a bias towards this side. But definitely got a few to this way. And this is, you know, this will get back to when we start talking about, you know, where you should be aiming. I think the important piece to know is that you may predominantly hit the ball one shape or another, but you don't know where it's going to end up necessarily on either side of that line. So, you know, Scott Fawcett does a great job of talking about dispersion and things like that on Decade. And I definitely would recommend anybody that is, you know, wanting to improve their game and understanding to take a look at that product. And he does a great job of describing kind of dispersion and why it's important to be aiming at certain targets. So anyway, that's going to be kind of where we're at. So that gives you a bit of an idea as to where all those balls went. You know, the beauty about, you know, a system like this, you know, you can see the inconsistency of, you know, where I'm hitting the ball and out on the face. So, you know, some thin ones, a couple fat ones here, but a lot kind of off the toe. But again, you know, to be honest, this is typical this is actually fairly decent beginner. Like, I'm quite surprised that I didn't, you know, bring the left side of my my simulator into play. I put some pads up there thinking that there was definitely going to be some balls going that direction. You know, you can see some things to maybe clean up, but the beauty about this, you know, this system, I have the Unicore XO2, and you know, you can actually see the ball coming in, or see the club coming in. So you can see that one's a little fat, but you can see the deflection of the actual club as it hits the ball. It's amazing to actually see. not going to get deep into the numbers here on this side of things, but you know, if I'm going to do just a kind of a little ranking here, so my max carry was 123, average carry, so I averaged about 100 yards with the 7-iron, and you know, there's some other numbers that we can kind of look at. Ball speed 95, club speed 76. That was the maxes. Averages were 84 and 69, and then obviously there's all sorts of other things on here to look at, but that kind of gives you a little bit of an idea as to kind of where we're starting and what that's going to look like moving forward. So that's day one. 100 hours. Going to figure out how far this goes. If you want to join me on this little journey, if you really kind of want to challenge yourself and try something, by all means, you're more than welcome to. We'll share this. We'll compare some notes, and we'll share the journey together. But you know, I think one of the things I'm going to pick up, I think, from this is just how hard it is to do the things that I take for granted on the other side, hitting right-handed. But I think it's also important to kind of recognize, like, my shot pattern, my path is completely different on the left side than it is the right. So, you know, take a look at that and see what I can glean. So I'm doing this certainly, you know, for my own self to kind of start to understand, you know, how my body moves and how I can improve hitting it left-handed, but also how can I apply that on the right side and some of the learning principles there. So that's it for day one. We've got our time in for today. Tune in on day two, and we'll see where this journey takes us. Look forward to seeing you, and by all means, like and subscribe.